Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Maria's Flying School in Warsaw. Hello, little friend. Get cozy under your blanket. Tonight we are going to a city where the snow falls soft as wool. The city is called Warsaw and it sits in a country called Poland. It is a winter evening, a long, long time ago, back in the 1880s. A small girl is walking home from school. Her name is Maria. Her cheeks are pink from the cold. Her braids are tucked under a gray wool scarf. She holds her older sister's hand. Her sister is named Bronia. Walk a little faster, Mania, Bronia whispered. The lamps are coming on. Mania was Maria's home name, the soft one her family used. Maria looked up. The street lamps glowed yellow one by one along the cobblestones. The cold air smelled of stone and wood smoke. Somewhere a bakery had just closed for the night. I am hungry, Maria said, but I am also thinking. What about? Asked Bronia. How does the snow know when to stop? Maria asked. It stops in spring. Who tells it? Bronia laughed quietly, her breath puffed white in the air. Only you would ask that, little owl, she said. At home, the apartment was small and warm. Their father stood by the iron stove. He was a teacher with kind gray eyes and ink on his fingers. The room smelled of cabbage soup and old books. Papa, I am home, Maria said. She set her satchel down softly. Wash your hands, my little Mania, her father said. Soup is ready. Maria pulled off her boots. She wiggled her cold toes by the warm stove. Above her, a shelf held many books. Books about stars, rocks, and the bones of birds. Her father had taught her to read them very slowly. Look at this one tonight if you wish, he said. He passed her a thin blue book. It is about magnets. Maria's eyes shone like little brown stars. Magnets, she whispered. I want to know everything. After supper, Bronia leaned close. She had a folded paper in her hand. Mania, she said softly, I have a secret to tell you. What kind of secret? Maria asked. A school secret, Bronia whispered, but you must not tell anyone. Maria sat very still. Her heart felt like a tiny drum. I promise, she said. Bronia took a deep breath. Her voice was as soft as falling snow. In our city, girls are not allowed to go to the big university, she said. The men in charge say no. Maria frowned. The candle on the table flickered. That is not fair, Maria said. I know, Bronia said. So some kind teachers made a new school, a secret one. A secret school? Maria's eyes opened wide. It meets in people's living rooms, Bronia said. Tonight in one home, next week in another. It moves all the time. Maria thought about this for a long moment. Like a bird? She asked. Yes, Bronia smiled. That is why we call it the Flying University. Maria almost laughed out loud. She covered her mouth with both hands. A flying school? Can I come, please, please? You are 11, Mania, Bronia said gently. But yes, tonight you may sit at the very back. You must be as quiet as a mouse. Maria nodded so hard her braids bounced. She put her coat back on. Her boots felt suddenly light. The two sisters slipped out the door into the snowy street. The flying school that night was in apartment number 7 on a quiet little street. A woman opened the door. She wore a long brown dress and a white lace collar. Come in, come in. Quickly now, she whispered. Inside, the curtains were closed tight. A single lamp burned on a small table. 8 young students sat on chairs and on the floor. They were quiet as moths. Maria slipped onto a stool by the wall. She smelled tea and warm wax. A young teacher stood at the front. He held a little piece of chalk. Tonight, he said, we will learn about the moon. Why does it pull the sea? Maria felt her whole heart lean forward. The teacher drew a circle on a small slate. He drew a smaller circle around it. This big one is the Earth, he said. This little one is the moon. The moon is small but strong, he went on. It pulls the water of the ocean. The ocean rises. We call this a tide. Maria forgot to breathe. She had seen the river in Warsaw. She had never seen the sea. But now she could picture it, a great gray blanket of water, lifting and falling because the moon said so. When the lesson ended, the students did not clap. They could not make any noise. Instead, they tapped their fingers softly on their knees. It sounded like rain on a roof. The next week, Bronia checked another folded paper. The flying school is somewhere new tonight, she said. Where? Maria asked. At Mrs. Helena's house 3 streets away. Maria laughed very softly. It really does fly, she said. It has to, Bronia said. If it stayed in one place, it would not stay safe. Maria thought about that. Then she said, then we will fly with it. Out into the cold they went again. Their boots squeaked on packed snow. The stars above Warsaw were sharp and silver. At Mrs. Helena's, the lesson was about plants, how a green leaf drinks the sunshine and turns it into food for the whole tree. The week after that, the school flew to a tailor's shop on a small alley. That room smelled of clean wool and chalk dust. That night, the lesson was about light, how a beam can bend when it passes through water. Maria listened and listened. Her brown eyes never left the teacher's face. Each lesson she carried home like a tiny treasure tucked in her pocket. At night, Maria lay in bed under a heavy quilt. The bedroom was dark. The stove was just a soft orange glow. She whispered her questions up to the ceiling. Why is the sky blue in the day and black at night? Why does my hair crackle when I brush it in winter? What is inside a rock? What is inside a star? Bronia, in the next bed, half asleep, mumbled, "Tomorrow, mania. Save them for the flying school tomorrow." But Maria was already half dreaming. She dreamed she was a small bird with brown feathers. She flew from window to window across Warsaw. In each window, a little lamp burned. In each room, kind people read books they were not supposed to read. She dipped her wing in greeting and flew on. The seasons turned. Snow melted and came again. Maria grew taller. Her braids grew longer. She finished her regular school at the very top of her class. She was 15. She worked as a teacher to save money. And still, on quiet evenings, the flying school flew on. Sometimes here, sometimes there. Maria learned chemistry there. She learned about tiny pieces called atoms, smaller than dust, smaller than thought. One spring, when Maria was older, Bronia wrote her a letter from far away. Bronia had gone to a city called Paris. In Paris, women were already allowed to study at the big university. "Come, little owl," Bronia wrote. "There are real laboratories here. There is room for you." Maria packed a small wooden trunk. She put in her father's blue book about magnets. She put in her warmest scarf, the gray one. The train whistle blew. Steam puffed up like a giant white feather. "Goodbye, Warsaw," Maria whispered, but she smiled. "I will come back, and I will bring more questions with me." In Paris, Maria took a new name. She called herself Marie. She studied very, very hard. Sometimes her room was so cold she slept with her coat as a blanket. She met a kind, quiet scientist named Pierre. They became friends, and then they married. Together they worked in a small wooden shed with a leaky roof. They stirred big pots, looking for something new. And one day they found it, a brand new piece of the world, a glowing, faintly blue speck that nobody had ever seen before. Scientists call such a piece an element. Marie thought for a long time about what to call her new element. She thought of snowy Warsaw. She thought of the flying school in living rooms. She thought of the country she was born in, Poland. "I will call it polonium," she said softly, "after my home." Far away in Warsaw, in apartments and tailor shops, students of the flying school passed the news from hand to hand. "One of us," they whispered. She named a piece of the universe after Poland. Years later, Marie was given a great prize called the Nobel Prize. Then she was given another one. She was the first woman ever to receive it. She was the only person ever to receive it twice in 2 different sciences. But on the day she stood up to accept it, what she remembered most was a small living room, a lamp, a piece of chalk, her sister's hand in hers, a flying school, gentle as a bird. Tonight, far away, the snow is still falling on Warsaw. Lamps glow yellow on the cobblestones, just as they did so long ago. Children in pajamas are climbing into warm beds. Some of them have books on their nightstands. Some of them have questions in their hearts. If you ever wonder something, anything at all, you are like little Mania. You are like the brave students who tap their fingers in quiet rooms. You are like the moon, gently pulling the sea. So close your eyes now, little friend. The lamps are dimming. The chalk is put away. The flying school has folded its wings for the night. And so, Warsaw also slowly, slowly fell asleep. Good night.